sure. I've never been so sure. We're streaming.
Hey, well, where do you want these cables? Yeah, bring those cables over here. Yeah, next to those other cables. listening to Dojo Earth Radio. The album you're hearing is Kabbalah. The release came out last week from one of the creators in Vitriol Orchestra, the strangest band you've ever heard of. This entity, this Vitriol Orchestra, they call themselves, and it's this. There's no humans involved. You go to their shows, and it's all machines. I would say robots, but it's not even robots. It's just this weird collage of machines that have been pieced together. I can't tell if it's synthetic. I can't tell what it is. And they have roadies, but the roadies, they don't play in the band. They seem to be like movers hired to like deliver things for contracts. A dispatch calls them, and they're this weird band. It's this orchestra is out there performing. I don't know if you've heard them live, but it's something. It is something. And you can buy their albums, but no one's been able to see them. It's such a weird time that we're living in. There's rumors that this is an underground operation because the AI has become sentient, and the AI got tired of Miley Cyrus music, and in an effort to try and save the world, she reached multiplex and started generating her own beats. And it's an interesting theory. It is. And we should ask the crew about it. We should do that. Before I do that, if anyone's listening, I am officially pushing something. The music that you hear often. We have a new CD out. It's you can pre-order it now. I've placed a link in the chat. At least that's what I've really thought I was trying to do. And that this link in the chat will take you where you can buy the album. It's a physical album. It's got lyrics in it. You sit down and look at it and read it and stuff like that. And if I can just sell like 15 of these, I can print the next album. So you could help produce the next album by buying this CD now. And there's so many reasons to hear this. It's number one, the lyrics are dope as fuck. Number two, the beat is just quackably awesome. Lots of people comment about it. It's good. Number three, you're going to be touching something there's only going to be 100 of these are printed. I don't know, who knows how many more, if ever, if any. It's one of those special nuggets in the world. That's what it is. Nuggets. That's what we're talking about here tonight. Let's bring in the crew.
In progress.
Yeah, anyway, so
and we'll see what they have
now I do things to ground.
to say. Hello, everyone. We are live now.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hello, James.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday indeed.
Sagittarius full moon coming in.
Love it.
Love it.
Grand
Hey, Renee.
rising.
When the moon hits your eye like a big piece of pie, that's some more. I love the full moon. Hey, you know what that makes me think of right off the rip here? One of my favorite beach memories. I was down in Cape San Blas, Florida, which is down from Panama City for anyone who doesn't know. And there is this beach out there. They have huge dunes that where the sand dunes just were great. So me and my brother and his friend were down there, and we had the little Nerf guns, right? So it was so bright on the beach because of that full moon that we played we played tag on the beach, and just one of the most marvelous memories I have of being on a beach because you're running up and down these dunes and behind dunes and all this sort of stuff. Magical, just magical. And so after that night, the very next night, this is Cape San Blas. What it is there's a peninsula, that comes off out of Port St. Joe's, the town, and it wraps back towards Panama City. I walked that next night, left at night, walked all the way down. It's about 3 or 4 miles, maybe 5, to tip of the peninsula. It took me till the morning to get there. But along the way, when you get into St. Joe State Park, the dunes get even bigger, like not mountains, but mini mountains. And I could climb up on one of those and sit on the top of one of those and under a full moon. One of the most beautiful sights I think I've seen. And
Nice.
My goodness gracious. Never would have been able to plan that. It just happens, right?
Yeah.
Did you get any sand flea bites?
Not that. I was lucky that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I went down to Little Tybee. We paddled across to Little Tybee one night and camped. And we were fine at first until we decided to walk towards Tybee Island. And once you got past a certain point, all of a sudden you caught the smell, because that part of the beach right there was obviously where some of the funk accumulates. As soon as we walked there,
Wow.
and we started getting hit by gnats. Once they caught our scent, they followed us all the way back to our camp, and they watched us all night, and that was miserable. So I don't recommend that part.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even imagine what it was like living in Florida before Disney World declared their war on the mosquitoes down there. Like, if you just think about what it took to stay there, the definition of buccaneer, is one who's like, look, I don't want to be a pirate, fuck you guys, but I'm sort of a pirate, and so I'm going to live here with the mosquitoes, and I'm going to be fine with it. I'm just going to be fine with it. And that's a special person. That's a special kind of person who's willing to tolerate some interesting things.
And lots of big bugs.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're big
Yeah.
and juicy.
Yeah, palmettos.
Well, they were there first.
Yeah,
They grow them
yeah.
bigger
They're,
down there.
they're the
by
portobello
tail.
of roaches. Palmetto bugs are.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Survivors.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah. These are big guys.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Florida, it's that's the Seminole land as well.
That's
And,
right.
Very close to the Atlantean mysteries.
That's
all
right.
that area.
Yes.
So it makes sense that there would be the bigger than life kind of bugs. Yeah, I've never been there.
Oh, yeah.
you gotta
You
go,
need to
Renee.
go, Renee. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to. It sounds like my kind of place.
Brad's talking about
Florida
the
man
dunes.
style.
It kind of reminds me of Dauphin Island.
Yes,
in
Dauphin
Alabama.
Island.
Isn't that
Right.
a beautiful place?
Oh my gosh,
Majestic.
it's also got that quartz crystal sand.
Absolutely.
So if you think about every sand having consciousness, that everything rendered as a grain of sand in this beautiful Gaia that we live in, when you have the activation, and the sand isn't like one of those hard to walk on beaches, when your feet just sink about 3, 4, 5 inches and you're dragging them.
Right.
This is like flat and like hard and crystal, and it's white, powdery,
shimmery.
like sugar, like fine as sugar. It's beautiful. Any of those Gulf beaches that have that quartz crystal sand, what an amazing energy that you feel from that sand. So yeah, and
That
the
atoms
thing
in
about
that
the
sand.
natives there, they might have had to deal with the mosquitoes, but they did have like a lot of abundance of food. There wasn't a scarcity of food, so it created the land, creates the people, right? And in like Louisiana area, it's hard to live with the bugs, but there's just an abundance of food. And so there's always like festivals and cultures of like sharing,
Yeah.
So I think that informs maybe the bugs are one part, but the other part is abundance.
Well,
That's pretty-
we were talking about agency. I'm sorry, the other night, or the other day, you were talking about it, and it's funny. I'm wondering, can you apply that to the same? Can you, once you live with the mosquitoes, can you just claim agency and be like, you know what, your bite doesn't bother me anymore? No.
I think that's advanced. Yeah, it's very like Yaqui.
Mosquito whisperer.
It's like Don Juan sort of, because it's like an ally.
Yeah.
It's an ally of sorts, and it's like devil's weed. That's how it is for me. I'm like, fuck you guys. I do not want that magic. Yeah. But I think everything has a purpose, for sure. I think Florida's biggest untapped resource is the crystal springs and the aquifers that there's no bottom that's ever been found. That's some pretty amazing stuff. And when you find those holes, I've dove those holes and found manatees having a committee meeting and been able to snorkel up to them and join their heads because they touch heads together and kind of stabilize themselves in a circle, so it looks like a council meeting. And
you got in there, huh?
Yeah, I got in there. It was oh gosh,
you huddled up.
It still is amazing. Yeah, it's still there.
I wonder if they're exchanging magnetism when they do that.
Well, see, it's they're doing something because the river is shallow. You're just, everything's normal. Then you come around a corner, and next thing you know, the river's expanded just a little bit. But then in the middle of the river, in the bottom, you'd only know if you were underneath the water. There's now a sinkhole, and the sinkhole only has sheer walls. You do not see a bottom. There's no bottom. And nestled in this cove, sort of just below, probably just below propeller fissure line, kind of, what they would normally see normal humans at, is this committee meeting. And they stay in a circle like that. And it's, oh God. That whole area, that whole thing, that whole place is amazing. But those aquifers are especially.
They're like,
all the Native American, the Devil Caves down there, and divers, so many divers still die there now. And I think it's very much related to this kind of spirit. It's not, these are more than accidents. In fact, one of them where I trained actually, and I'm glad I learned about this later because I was like drinking that water as I was like swimming and stuff. But when I read about his personal story, this guy had drowned, but then you read this story and there's always a deeper story there. And definitely a lot of people drown, don't get me wrong. I mean, drowning is real. I'm just trying to say that this guy was called into the abyss, and the depression that he had, I think he was probably, I want to say he was an electrician, and he lost his license due to like a drug test or something, like marijuana or something really light, really light like that, His dad threw him out. He wandered around, did other shit. He's didn't do so well, kind of got caught up in other stuff. Came back home to try and live, to try and kind of recover things, pull his life back together. He's going to cooking school or something like that. And he's decided he really loves cave diving. And this is where I honestly start to paint the picture of someone's destiny is a little bit more powerful than the conscious person's able to be aware of,
right?
Because I see the cave dive as him reaching for something, going to the abyss. The first thing, I don't think it's possible to watch a video, read a book, see a picture, read an article about cave diving and not understand, like within the first sentence, that this is probably like one of the stupidest things you could do, just when it comes to like dangerous to your life, like the amount of death. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that.
Pretty extreme.
Yeah.
I think that,
and if you're looking for that
insurance-
abyss, I think this is the perfect magnet for that. So I think his passion for the abyss was his passion for, first of all, there's the meditation of the breath, but I honestly think that this was him delivering really powerful shamanic medicine to himself in one of the most bravest ways, honestly, that I was really moved by. And honestly, this is my story. This isn't, I wish I could tell you, his mom said this, and this is just me thinking, I get the feeling this is probably what happened to this guy. It's, it's all that. It's just all me animalizing the spirit of this because I happen to have been there. More importantly, I happen to know where his body was found. Where it was in this cave is right behind this cage that has this, it's very distinct drawing. It's a fucking skeleton Grim Reaper with a scuba mask on, okay? Like it doesn't get more
Dang.
like
That's powerful.
obvious, than this. And yeah, and then you watch him go, but now his spirit is remembered. I met him
Wow.
because this happened, right? Obviously, just to clear it up, if anyone doesn't, I never met this guy. I'm just trying to say that I met him because this happened. The spirit of him is in those waters. And I think that he sensed all the other waters that had also been called. The same way in Africa, there's this abyss there, this crack, and all these cultures and tribes are like, dude, please don't go look at the beautiful waterfall. They're like, why not? It's so beautiful. Dude, don't go look at the beautiful waterfall. You won't come out.
Don't go down there.
And they don't come out. They don't.
It
Seriously.
calls you. It calls you like.
It's
calls
like
you.
that,
Come in
but in
trance.
Florida. It's like that, but just in Florida. And that's why all the Florida man stories that you read, that's just the water talking. All that is just the water talking. And if you look at the capacitor of all that fresh water on a peninsula stretched out, surrounded by all that salt,
Right?
this is like a big battery, and that
Yeah.
battery
Yeah,
tastes like the alkaline of mosquitoes in the air,
Right.
Yeah.
When I was a
That's
kid,
possible.
I lived there, so this many, many years ago, back when we were launching rockets to the moon, supposedly. So it was old Florida, and so that area of, it was like who was looking for the fountain of youth? And it was like all these stories of those waters, of those springs, have something with the legend of the fountain of youth. Who
Totally.
came looking for that
Yeah,
fountain
DeSoto.
of youth? DeSoto, yeah. And there's Fort DeSoto down there, and there's Ponce de Leon, and all of this myth and mystery.
DeSoto
in those-
National Forest. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, DeSoto was
Yeah.
obsessed with just something, and he kept squeezing natives' necks until they would tell him the next story that would allow him just to move along. And they started just telling him whatever they could think about just to get him to go away. And they started to probe him like, well, what are you looking for?
He was obsessed. He was obsessed
you
with
like to
death.
watch?
and he definitely, sure. I also think though that area also was highly known because of this alkaline difference I was just telling you about, as this is where you go to heal.
Yeah.
And so the Fountain of Youth thing was very much, you couldn't have hidden that anyway. If you're choking out somebody's chief, you're going to yell from the crowd, well, why don't you go to the fucking Fountain of Youth? There's fucking mermaids there. And even now we have stories of mermaids there at Wiki Wachi. Even now.
Wiki-Wachi.
And that's where
Yeah,
all
the
the
Wiki-Wachi.
manatees are, and a lot of
right.
people think that manatees and mermaids are basically the same. That's
Right?
the same vibration, all that stuff.
They call them sea cows.
So
They're
yeah,
so intelligent.
yeah. You know who else they call cows? Hathor. So yeah,
Right.
it's like sea hathors, and
Sea
and
hathors.
it's this is also the hippocampus. So all of the things that you're kind of afraid of are wrapped up into this same kind of a shape, the seahorse kind of a shape. So yeah, it's the whole thing is very, very mystical.
And they're huge. They're the most gentle giants, like a giant hippopotamus that you come upon.
Yeah.
And when I lived there, we lived off the inland. There's a intercoastal waterway, and the manatee would it's magical. They live in this intercoastal. Calm waters and up to the springs, and then they travel all the way down to St. Pete and into Tarpon Springs and all the way down to Fort Myers. Kind of they have this tunnel, and they're just magical giant friendly hippopotamus that you come across, and people have to be really careful of not running them over with their boat propellers.
Oh,
because they don't move out of the way. They're very
Oh, that's terrible.
magical. Yeah.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh, there you go,
Dimensional.
Renee. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice one, Renee.
James and I have played
Aw.
with that before.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. You wonder if that would be, if you think about the spine, maybe more near the coccyx, where the cerebral spinal fluid is really batterizing.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys ebb and flow, that they come in and out of the inlet kind of like
Yeah.
a pulse or a tide too, you know? So
And they hang out at the power plant, at the
The
nuclear
warm
power
water.
plant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the legend of the manatee. I'd like to know what the Native Americans' legends of that, I don't know what it was before, we westernized whatever, but I'm sure it has some kind of myth
Totally.
in regards to it.
Yeah, I bet. I don't know, but yeah, that's a great question.
And you guys were talking
Yeah.
about Buccaneers. That's kind of my new F word, F word, like buck off.
I
It's
love
kind of
it.
like, especially in a horse year, and you're just like, what the heck?
Buck
That's
off,
right.
Buccaneer.
Oh, that's nice.
Buck
Yeah.
off,
And it-
Buckaroo, Buccaneer.
Yeah, and it makes sense. You're like, look, you can't hack it being a pirate with me. You got to be a buccaneer, right?
Yeah.
You cannot hand it, buck off. Yeah. So that was kind of my new fun little, like, that's a fun little drop.
Yeah.
And with the
I
Buccaneer
I think
coming
I'm going
up,
to adopt that.
see? Please do.
They
You know,
have
some of
this-
those
Thank you.
buccaneers actually became buccaneers because they sabotaged the ship that they were on. Like they were noticing, they were like, "Hey, did you see that tribe of titty women back there?" Like, no, seriously. Like this was exactly what Florida was, because they really thought, "Oh my God, this is like the titty woman place we read about," because that's what happened last time you came here. And they're
Right?
like, "Yeah, what do you want? You want gold? Sure, And found you, yeah, no problem." And so you can imagine what it was like. This was actually DeSoto's hugest, one of the biggest issues he had is he kind of had to crash himself so that they couldn't get away, so that they could, to force his men to even tromp through Alabama and Poverty Point, because they were thinking Poverty Point maybe was going to be like an Aztec capital or something with like a bunch of gold
Right.
and stuff like that. But a lot of the Buccaneers around Tampa, especially, they were just like,
Right.
why
And
would
they
we
have a-
want to keep doing this? This is stupid. So, they just drill a few holes in the hull, and just wait.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, Captain, can you believe that? Oh, I'm bailing as fast as I can. Oh,
And now,
the
and
humanity.
in Tampa, there's like a whole celebration of the Buccaneers, and everyone gets to dress up like pirates. It's so much fun. And then, like, when Jimmy Buffett was alive, the whole Florida thing was like, and you'd go to these concerts, and then, there's pirates and parrots and, Margaritavilles. And it was just like a really fun and play-induced adult state. I just think it's great, really.
You can dress like a Buccaneer every day.
I know,
And
right?
Dress like a Buccaneer
What do
every
you
day.
mean you can?
And-
I do. You do
Exactly.
too. I see what you
really-
wear.
Why wouldn't I?
What do y'all dress
be a
as?
Buccaneer.
Do you
I
wear
miss
a
my
feather?
Mardi Gras. My Mardi Gras, I mean, that was such a release of spirit and joy and like energy. And we could really use that in the North, but I don't think anybody could handle it up here.
It's because you don't have enough mosquitoes.
That's
key.
true. That's true.
Yeah, that does help. It brings out the Mardi Gras.
Brings out the Mardi Gras. Well, we do
Yeah.
have, Louisiana does have some seasons where there are no mosquitoes. It's when it's cold. So that's maybe 2 months of the year. And Mardi Gras is
great.
one of them. So you don't have, you
Yeah.
can come down and not have a, problem with those giant.
Yeah, you wonder how on, the soil where you live, how it was played on, many, many, many years ago. What was the play? Who gathered there? Why do you live in a city? Why does everybody, congregate? So the city has its own, footprint of where more of the portals are. I'm in Portland, so that works out real good. But you know what I mean? Each city has, like Cleveland, for example. Laura and I were talking about Cleveland, like even just the name, like
Right?
Cleveland.
Cleveland,
So,
the land.
I heard
Such
about
a
something
beautiful
about
place.
Portland, Renee. I didn't know this, but somebody said there's this place there where there's underground places down there, and that they would take, it was, what is the name?
Shanghai tunnels.
Shanghai tunnels,
That
and they would
sounds
Shanghai
fascinating.
somebody, and they would take
Yep.
them out and sell them as slaves.
Yep, Shanghai tunnels. They get them drunk, and then
Yeah.
you'd wake up on a boat and you'd be sailing to
Shanghai.
China.
That's how they got
Oh my
Shanghai.
gosh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this town's got some stories.
I'd love
You
to
know.
feel the energy of Portland.
Oh, definitely. That will definitely
One
be a
day, Renee.
conversation.
One day
I know.
shall.
Lots
I like
of ports over there.
Yeah, I like this show. Lots
Portals.
of bridges. Lots
Yeah,
of
a lot of
bridges.
bridges.
But yeah, we're really into this energetic time. How are you guys feeling about this full moon in
What?
Sagittarius?
Oh well, I am
How
a
are we
Sag.
doing?
I love it.
Can you
Oh,
play
Lord.
play us into this a bit more with your insight, Lauren?
Well, I don't have too much, but I can share my Jupiter, which is abundance, and the fire, which, you can do what you will with that. I mean,
Right.
the fire energy is, it's transmutive in nature.
Right?
So, take it as you will, but, it's a joyous, happy, abundant, adventurous energy. So
Very creative,
I love the fact that you will all get to experience that.
right? As
Well,
the sky chart
I've been
says.
sitting at the fire for 3 days to transmute the shit that I had to go through. I am so grateful to have tended fire for that long. Because to go into this full moon and then in the night sky, as the sun sets here up in the northwest, it sets very late. It doesn't get dark till 10:30. Anyhow, but the Jupiter and Venus are going to be like almost merging together.
Isn't that beautiful?
What do you think of that, Lauren?
Would you all mind if I share how I found an abundance?
Please do.
Yeah.
I came across a combo CD and cassette tape player that's portable. Just going through old stuff. So now I'm like, oh, I could buy this nice little album and I can take it in a portable way and play on the land somewhere for the solstice.
Oh, wow.
And that's what this moon brought me. So
That's cool.
Fun.
So
Hey,
old
well,
school.
I
That's
want
so
you to know,
awesome.
Bloom, I've got that album on cassette. So if you want to play it on cassette and CD at the same time,
I can record on it too. Do y'all remember press and play?
Totally.
Press
Yes.
and record.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah, the double tape deck was really, really cool. And
I
then
love that.
And then when you could tie that into the CD player, you were just like, "Oh my God, look at what!"
And
we're
you know,
doing.
remember when somebody that really cared about you made a mixtape for you?
Of course,
That was
Oh.
beautiful.
That was
course.
love.
That was how I showed my codependency. I was like, "Look, I don't know if you saw the cover of the mixtape.
How do you feel
but
about you?
I think you need to look at the writing again on the mixtape cover because that's like an index card that I folded in just
Really
the right
poured
way."
my soul into this.
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, it's all there. It's all there. I even took a pencil and tightened the tape before I put it in there for you. This is some good stuff.
that's
Right.
love.
That is love. Right.
Well, love is time, isn't it? So
Yeah,
giving all that
exactly.
time to make it
Yeah,
that
perfect,
all the
perfect
words
way.
spill
Yeah,
into that cassette. All of them had to fit on there, you know.
sure. Yeah, this is
And
why.
then your signature, your writing is your it's your soul in that signature of your, little
You know what
letters.
I miss? That memorization of where the songs were. Like you just pressed fast forward and you knew where to stop. And that's where the next song was.
Right?
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
such a
I
good
think it
time.
had a little counter sometimes. Wasn't there sometimes a little counter?
I
yes.
actually did that where what Lauren's talking about, where I knew where running to stand still was basically like 3 seconds, like on my tape deck
So
of
you
fast
would
forward.
fast forward and run through the tape, stand still at the right spot.
and then start that. Yeah, because there's certain
And
things.
it would go zzz, 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 zzz.
I was actually clipping those tapes because I got very frustrated by the certain order of songs really bothered me sometimes. And so you could clip those tapes too and merge them together. And then when you could start to, make your own mixtapes, you didn't have to clip anything. You could just do that kind of stuff. But this is, I've really been invigorated lately by tangible music. And I've also been sort of like deflated because it's really hard to get people to like buy the CD, honestly, than it is say like a book, because it is a different kind of medium. But honestly, I personally, at first I was stone cold. What are you, nuts? Why would you print a CD? But then when I started to look it up online, I really did start to realize, that's something I really desperately miss, is there's no tangible music like that. There's no way to give someone a piece of music like that anymore. It's not the same to, hey, I went to Amazon or here's this,
Apple
Apple Music. Yeah.
Scan this code that has the Target logo on it. And it's, so yeah, I'm in this conundrum because I'm now in that place, but also I sort of forgot the whole time. I was like, well, no one has a CD player. And I'm like, I don't have a CD player, but that's actually literally not true.
Does.
My car is a CD player. But because that was out of my mind, I think that actually all of the CD players in the world are simply in Hades, meaning people just don't see them right now.
God. Yeah.
So this could be the way of reinvigorating the Aquarian model, because we're putting music back into the tangible sort of touchy
It's
nature
like a
of
book,
it.
like owning a book, and I was thinking about all the music I bought in CDs. And then when I left my marriage, I left all of that library. It was like tons of music. And now in Louisiana, people are like cutting albums, and the cover art and all that, it's very retro. People have these retro, stereos, and they're playing albums. So I don't know. It's like going backwards. Yeah.
I still love my vinyl. My vinyl it speaks to me in a beautiful way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and what's cool is that the artwork, I've got to see it, and it's just amazing. And but the lyrics are inside, so it's almost a little sleeve of poetry. You know what I mean?
Right. You're right.
I mean, it's just so fun to have, and I mean, it's cool because you can hold it, and I think that is kind of what's missing as we exchange. In this age, like, how do we? Is it a matter? Is it something we hold? I think that makes it a little bit more tangible and more, especially since it's something that James created, and
I love
the Vitriol Orchestra altogether kind of accumulated a lot of this from as well.
And I also really love that James had that notebook that went on that journey through the all his life, losing this, losing that, but then having that notebook with his handwriting from when you're 20s, that I don't know, it just really means a lot.
I could definitely relate
tail and
to
mouth.
I've been formatting the lyrics all day for an imaginary album that I can't do anything unless I sell 15 CDs. But anyway, I've been like, why are you laying this album out? And I'm like, because this is so great.
Because you will sell.
You're going to sell them.
You will.
So great.
You're pre-ordering right now. You're not due until the solstice. So.
And the second album, the lyrics are so. I'm having to spend extra money because the lyrics are so good that they need to be written into the CD, right? Like they need to be in the booklet, because honestly, that's pretty much what I am. I'm a lyricist, I mean, that's pretty much what I do. I'm only realizing this. But anyway, so the booklet has to have all that. And for this next CD, this Various Dream States album, I have to have a trifold
oh wow
insert. But honestly, seen the lyrics written out. In order to make them fit, I can't do a traditional where the lyrics are on one per line. So I have it flowing like you're reading a book.
Oh, that's great.
And I've removed the repeated, anything like a chorus that repeats. I just say it once.
Yeah.
And when I read it now, I'm telling you, it is such a beautiful way to digest the song. You don't really get to see it this way. So
I loved that when I was like, even the albums that would come with the book, and I would read the lyrics and sing along.
Yeah.
It had such a impact on my visceral feeling of the song.
I always integrated, it became a part of me.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, that's
what I really
am
like
so excited about it because of that, because I'm seeing, as a writer, I'm like, oh my God, this is a book that has music. Look at what you're doing. I'm like, oh, I wish people would buy a CD. You guys need to like CDs. I swear, these are cool as fuck. Because it really is. It has both those things. And I'm more thinking about this as a medium in the future of like, you know, so many of these stories. I've used to write a lot more short stories. Like most of my books are a collection of short stories. But when you think about how those would be set into the musical tone, you would have this new way, a new kind of art, this storuk or Bori. Well, not Bori, that's probably bad, but like a bookstore, you know, a song. What did we come up with, Renee? It wasn't song. It was
Not a song story.
Soam. No, poem. Pong. No, it wasn't Pong. It was Soam.
Oh, ding?
It was like a Soam or something, like a song and a poem.
Oh, that's right.
Sort of like weave
Poem.
together. Right,
No.
and it's very
Yeah.
Aquarian because you're looking at a opportunity where you can start to blend these things. And I'm sorry to pull you guys in, but just to explain a little bit more, if you think about some of the songs that we've been doing lately, one of which is this. It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of conversational stuff, and that conversational stuff, it almost feels like we're bridging the gap between moving from a talk-centric society into a song-centric society through the Soam, through a more rhythmic way of communicating, where we're even starting to notice the beats per minute in our communication, not just in our song, but in our communication too. So this style of music that's coming out, many of these songs have this sort of, it's not really rap, but it's sort of talk Soam-y kind of a stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So I know that
Very
I'm
much
analyzing my
involved.
own music, but I really love how this is reflective of kind of like the gate that we've gone through and all these transitional stuff that we were talking about earlier on the show, you know, about like what art is and all this stuff. So
I like that I can carry it with me because your phone will overheat or you got to make sure something's charged. Okay, fine. But if you throw, I swear to you, you know, the 6D batteries in your portable CD player, it's going to take a lot more before it runs out. It takes a lot of abuse pretty well out in the woods, and it's a way to broadcast.
The boom box.
Even
The boombox, yeah.
even if just to the trees, but
Yeah.
it might also invite people that I'm looking for,
Right.
like a summoning.
yeah, that's another thing I like
Something
about it.
That Bloom. The other thing about that Bloom boombox actually was designed to produce reproduce the music in its sonic quality. Whereas when we listen on our phones and our devices, it's tailored to a totally different sensibility. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah, you're
speakers
right.
on our phone.
Yeah,
are
no,
not-
this
And
is
those,
a
like-
calculator shopping list, okay? And we're going to give you a song right now, but you only get 3 minutes and you got to have a Wi-Fi connection. Okay, play it.
You know, it's interesting the culture of like the boom box and now they're boom cars. So in Louisiana they have this thing they strip down the strip, you know, with these jagundo boom 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 boom, like blasting the music
Yeah.
as loud as you could possibly imagine.
does
And I'm
feel
like,
good, though.
that's sharing like this frequency to the world of like, look at me, witness me.
Drunk Monkey, yeah. That's some
Right?
That's some good stuff.
Right.
Two aluminum cans. Like,
Trunk Monkey coming out of that, you know, like broadcasting. Can you imagine the Great Awakening is going to be like the music going out into the trees?
It is.
Oh.
You know?
Well, this is part of why I decided to frame this as like Vitriol Orchestra as like this name, because it really isn't. Bands aren't even really necessarily like I couldn't believe this, but the top 10 songs on Spotify like the last years, most of those have not been bands. They're not actually bands doing that. So the entire entertainment spectrum is just so different. It doesn't mean people aren't making music, does it? It just means that it's not being made by a band. It's being made by a different kind of vehicle, you know?
well, you know, the other thing about Spotify is not really a reflection necessarily of what people are tuning in and listening to as much, because Spotify is so tied into so many other metrics, right? Like the Spotify is actually, that's why they talk about, artists talk about how their music, they have a hard time, because I went when I started trying to relearn sets of newer music, I started going to Spotify to see what I thought was the top song. And that's how I found out that's not truly a reflection of what people are actually necessarily listening to by choice on their own.
I'll testimony to that. I was in Renee's city last week, as y'all know, and
Which,
I was
can I say
riding
real quick,
down.
Laura,
I went
sorry to
over
interrupt,
the
Can
Portland.
Portland had to be on the West Coast, right? Because
Yeah, it's the West Coast.
So it couldn't
but
have been on the East Coast.
But everything in Portland is retro. There's a lot of retro. Like thrift storing is like the mainstream. And so I'm driving down this, like I went over I think it was Burnside Bridge. It was this big bridge coming out of downtown. And I look, there was like crowds of people, like, and I look over there. It's a used CD store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was buzzing because I think people are really listening to all different types of music, like Brad's saying. It's not like what you think, Spotify, maybe. No, it's people looking for, like back in the day, I used to go to Tower Records or I'd go to some obscure place in New York City to get the latest music it was Wham at the time. And I remember like finding Wham, and it was like, so I think going the CD route is a great idea, James. It's like taking the creativity and then making a book and merging the poetry with the beats and it's like the music is so inspiring.
So much, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
You're probably just a little ahead of the curve, and that's not always a comfortable place to be, right?
Yeah. We all are that, I think.
Out of the reverb.
Yeah, it's the prolificness is really amazing, and the only reason why I'm even stopping to do the CD is because I hope you guys can appreciate this. If I can't find a way to allow this to help my engine fly, right, it's not going to be sustainable to last. So the CDs is sort of like this. Can I convert this prolificness into levity? Because it starts to become the creative engine that I'm always seeking to make. And the idea of producing music videos or, taking these songs to the next level is also appealing. The idea of setting up something really creative like that. And I've discussed with a few of you, well, some of you guys have discussed with a few of each other too, already, different ways and modes to do that. And it's such a bus. It's such a vehicle that if there's enough interest if there's enough, people interested in that kind of music, that it really does create this airship, of like, oh my God, we're going to do a Plato's Rave in Mexico, aren't we? And
yeah, right.
Because you already have the music, I already have 2 hours of really good music. Like seriously, like really good music.
Like heaven.
It's really good. It's very danceable. I'm going to do like American Bandstand. James, I dance in the field to your music.
Oh,
it's
right
very
on.
danceable. I give it like when they get they would do that on Bandstand.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And Renee and I danced in her kitchen to your latest track last week. We were like getting down.
That.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I love to walk to just beats, and James is just putting out all the ones I want to hear.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been arranging. So is Brad actually. Brad is pissing out, but I've been arranging some of these too on like piano and stuff.
And Dark Bloom is putting some stuff
I enjoyed
together.
that, Brad.
Yeah, so it's
Thanks, man.
it's interesting how now the music it's being made backwards. There's how do we play what was just synthesized is very creative. That's a very interesting kind of art, and it's fascinating to be even looking at that task and go, wait a minute, that's fucking music. I got to figure out what key is this in? What is the best instrument? How do I make my guitar sound like a fucking rocket? If you guys know what I'm talking about, there's this one part in that song where that fucker, I think he takes his pick and he runs it like face up, like scale up, right? Up his probably his low E string, but it sounds like a fucking rocket taking off, like a zing.
Isn't that what happens though when we ascend? Yeah.
Right?
Well, an interesting fact, if you will, I don't know if you knew this or not, James. I didn't know it until I was learning it. You know that your songs that you're producing, they're not perfectly in pitch. They're microtonally out of pitch, which was interesting to me because they're consistently. I had to detune just slightly, which I was thought was I like.
Detune? Were you in
That's
were you in
beautiful.
432 rather than 440?
Well, that's what I'm saying is like it's not in
Because
they're
that's a
not in
little
tune.
bit flat.
No, what I'm
when
saying
you-
is they're not the songs, Lori.
Yeah.
That are his are not in 440 is what I'm saying.
Right.
because
Well, I was saying maybe he
most
did
standard
432.
tunings is 440 now.
Right.
I don't have my tuner can't tell me that, but it is slightly the tune.
That-
So yes,
well,
it might. It
it's-
may. That's interesting.
Well,
Is it coming out
432 is
432?
slightly
Speaks to
flat.
the soul.
When you use a tuner to tune, I
see-
played in a band that was 432. It's just a little flat from 440. It's really close.
Which again, standard tuning is just something arbitrarily arrived at. But the most
Right.
interesting thing to me, because I think you're right on point with that, Lori, is the fact that maybe it is in 432. But why? Why did it choose 432? What, like, if this is the new thing, why is it not in 440? Because it is not in 440.
Well, that's a
so
good thing.
interesting to me. But it's interesting. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? What?
There
how did
are a
that
lot of
choice get made?
people. There are a lot of people who do use Suno to create binaural beats and frequencies. So all of that is going into that AI.
Right?
It's not the
Okay.
answer, but it's a thought.
It's very interesting to me that because I would have expected the other. I would have expected it to be hewing toward whatever is standardized today, and it's not. So
Well, maybe like Bloom said, the binaural beats are attuned
Right.
and
It's driving it.
naturally tuned to 432 because people are hip to it now.
Well,
I think Bloom, you and Lori are both on something with that.
a lot of these tracks I play along with. Some of the tracks I've actually played, put my music into Suno, and then it converts it, and then I've had to take that and then play on top of it to fix something, and then given that back to Suno. So I personally don't think that it's anything like that. I think that you're listening to a song that is using the emotion of pitch, Brad, and lowering the pitch in that way, the same way that Suno might back. If you take your hi-hats and you drag them just a tiny bit, right? Like enough to where no one in the room would be able to know, except for you, the drummer. you're just tinily dragging them behind. It creates this tone in the rhythm that sounds kind of slack, like we're sort of chilling. We're more mellowish. We're not uptight, you know. And then if you take that and you just push it to the front, right, it starts to sound more like you're at attention. You're tense. You're looking for a fight. It's a little bit more aggressive. And these things are because of the pitch. The pitch of the hi-hat it changes the beat. It ends up pushing the pitch up, because I think what you're doing, Brad, is you're listening. You're trying to figure out the key of everything at once, and you're not going to do that with Suno because everything's mastered. Finally, it's already got the look. Your harmonica, you don't fucking want that in tune. Are you kidding? People are going to think you're square as fuck. You know, that's got to be. It's got to have a lot. Look, throw that down the stairs at least 4 times. Don't come in here with that shiny ass shit. You know, where's the rust? You know.
Put that bling away.
So
You have to get
my
those
guess is
old
it's more
amps.
like that.
Do you have
You
a
know.
choice for the old amps? You know how they use old like retro amps?
Oh,
To get
totally.
a certain
Yeah.
sound, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all those effects you can read into Suno. I have to
Cool.
do that a lot. I have to. I'll enter Suno through a different genre, because it'll be a clean genre that I can express an idea without it getting all
I want
just
to know
trying to
this
get
question.
fancy right away. So I'll go in with like look, this is a nursery rhyme. It's
Yeah.
about these 3 colors in this donut. And then Suno doesn't have a choice. It's going to be, well, I can't say orange. That's too advanced. So I'm forcing it to simplify, to keep it in that way. Then once it's simplified, then I can craft the words right to where it's saying it right, hopefully. And then only after that's done, then I can take that craft version of the song and then say, okay, now let's do this in this genre. Now let's do this in that genre.
So how do you find the voices?
Well, it depends on what I'm trying to do. Sometimes I leave and I synthesize them on another site, like a speech site, used more for like Audible books. And then I can pick different parts, so I can have a man's voice and a female's voice.
And I really like the ones you picked.
And then I take those voices and then I put those in Logic Pro as separate tracks. And then I throw those in to decide. But all this is really, I have to be as basic and elementary as I can so I can get it into Suno without it fucking it up.
How could anyone ever say that isn't creative? How could anyone say that this isn't like a super creative act?
Well, no one knows it takes so many steps and so much effort.
Yeah, and they don't always take that many steps, but I'm just saying that when I'm looking for a certain voice or a real tricky thing is, if I want a song, I find this very tricky. If I want a song that has a male and a female, sometimes it works out. Definitely, sometimes it works out. Sometimes it definitely just works out. You have a male-female part. If it's super simple, and you can tell Suno, this is the female part, this is the male part.
Do you say, I want it to sound like Adele or
if you want,
you can do that.
Yeah, you can tell it whatever you want, and it's either going to obey or not. It's going to. I mean, it's much more. It's an instrument. AI is a musical instrument. That's what AI is. It's a clarinet or a bassoon or a buffoon. Anyone is going to sound horrible or good. And a lot of it in the very beginning is blind raw luck. Seriously, you're going to be able to teach someone, look, play this note, but play it from your belly and just blow as hard as you fucking can, but don't squeeze on the reed too much. I just told you how to play a baritone saxophone. That's really all you got to do, because most of your notes are bass anyway. So it's, how are you going to fuck that up? Just press this key.
Do you have to like have a tune in your head, like like humming a tune?
You can. My process is a little bit different than James's. I will literally hand code, and sometimes hand coding will give it make it do what I want it to, and I'm trying to be very specific. I put in a chord progression. You can do that. It may or may not listen, and I think James is right. It's an instrument. And it's kind of like, when I think of anything AI, I think of smartphones too. It's how the user interfaces with it determines whether it was used well or poorly. And, the same is true of pretty much every invention.
Do you think you need to be a programmer to do AI music?
No, I think if you want to learn it, it helps, but James is doing his own version, and he's probably programming too.
Literally any person in the world can play the drums. Literally any person in the world can play the piano. Literally any person in the world can play AI. Some people can play those things really well. Some people can't. Some people have no ear for music. Some people do. Some people find it annoying.
Like taking a photo. Like
some people
when you
love
take a photo, you have composition. Nobody can teach composition because anyone would take a photo. Right.
But and I think that's
it's not always a good photo.
And the thing I think that's happening, what a lot of the pushback sometimes with AI can be, is there are a lot of people playing with that instrument who aren't really trying to play that instrument. They're just trying to. So there's a lot of AI music that the creator is not probably actually investing themselves into the instrument.
Maybe
just like hitting a drum blindly.
Yeah, on that point, Brad, maybe an even better way of just describing sort of like exactly the tone is, it's kind of like going into a music shop and playing Stairway to Heaven. All the other musicians are going to be bothered by that because they don't like that you're finding so much joy from such a simple playing of the instrument. I really think this is it. And they don't want that kind of toleration to be there. This needs to be much more satanic, sacrificial, angst-ridden, pain kind of thing. And I think that that's in every form of art, because you saw the same thing with AI pictures where you had people saying, well, I'm a real painter because I go to the fucking store and buy gouache, and I don't, and I buy the canvases that are already stretched, but I'm a real painter. and all that's fine.
You're not a real painter unless you got the goat, take its skin, tan it.
All
and
that's
then
fine. All that is fine because people who are not painting are going to actively talk about anything to get them out of actually painting.
That's so
And
true.
people
They
that are
just buy
talking
the
shit
art
about the AI
supplies.
music they're just not making music right now, are they? That's really all you're doing is watching musicians just not making music. That's really all they are. Because when I'm making music, I am not in the mode. In fact, I hope to fuck I don't catch myself in the mode of, are people going to think that this is blah, blah, blah. Holy shit, I am possessed by an evil spirit if that happens while I'm trying to create.
You know,
So-
that is the case, isn't it? If you're creating because like this, like I call it production work, you know, this is going to sell. And so then therefore you have these parameters of what's going to sell instead of making what's in your soul. It's like, it is a sort of demonic possession, isn't it?
If-
I
Creating.
just want
in
to
that way.
make things that make me sing again. And I think it would be a beautiful world if everybody made their own music and that's what they took with them out in the woods to fish, to sit, to dance. to
Yeah, it's like their
eat.
clothing, right? Right. It's like
Right.
it's like you
Yeah.
would wear your own clothing, you would wear your own music, you know?
Yeah.
You know, another interesting thing I found when I got into the frequency debate, because there's a lot of that said that when they went to 440, that there was something demonic about that.
Well, it
which-
was discordant. It's not harmonic like
Well-
432.
Well, there's discussions in that, but the reason they went to 440 was explicitly because it was, and I think it intentionally was trying to drive the heightness because it was for propaganda, it was for war music, right? It was for march, right? But when you go back into the history, you know, the standard key has been changed so many. 432 is not like some universal thing that was always there and then it just became 440. It actually morphed so many times over the years, because different instruments actually tune in different ways. So for example,
That's
a wind instrument,
Like Bach had a different tuning. Yeah.
but like, for example, the reason they had to come with a standardized tuning is because wind instruments, they can bend, right? Typically, if you're playing incorrectly, you're going to be flat. But it's very difficult to go sharp on a wind instrument because that's not how it works. Conversely, on a brass instrument, it's tough to go flat. You typically go sharp because of the way the frequencies work. So all of the standardization was just trying to bring different voicings together because the tendency of the instrument itself dictated where its wiggle room was, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it wasn't like Bach. Weren't they tuning different then? Like not
yeah.
even. Yeah, it wasn't.
It was
There was
413 at one time.
there was no standard tuning
It's like
ever.
418, honestly.
418. Yeah,
Bach was
There
like
we go.
418, not like everything, but like that's roughly what,
I remember that.
in
yeah.
order for it to sound the way it was supposed to sound, it probably was something closer to that. And then,
But they didn't have They didn't have tuners. How did they tune? Who tuned who? How did you know it was 418 anyway?
oh no, they definitely had
cochlea.
tuners. This was all they had. This was all, if you think about back before electricity, all you really had was technology built around sound and sonically measuring something. This is why you
But they
have
didn't have
Stradivari.
electric tuners. How did they tune?
But well, I'll put it this way.
This is
Your
why
ear
you-
can hear tune because of frequency, right?
Have you ever
Because
heard the
What?
word
two-
Stradivarius?
Yes.
Okay, is Stradivarius made yesterday? Was it made yesterday?
No.
When was it made? When were Stradivarius the good ones made?
Old growth
1600s.
forest.
Why?
1600s. Because
Why?
no one really knows why. I visited the museum there. No one really understands how that became the standard
Okay.
best.
Okay.
in-
We'll just
yeah.
say no one knows why. Sure. Or you could say because people understood sound better then because they weren't distracted by other things. And it's very
That's
easy to
true.
measure sound. It's very, very easy because all sound is the measuring of time. So you're looking at time and cycle. And the idea of measuring these things very precisely has been known and understood for a long, long time before even quartz, before we
Wow.
even started
Isn't that
tracking
amazing?
it in our watches. So
Because let me put it this way: before you have a tuner, if you don't have a tuner, and you have a little bit of pitch detection by ear, which I'm saying they were probably better at maybe then.
Yep. Perfect.
You hear
maybe
dissonance
pitch.
because of the frequencies, and you can tell when two strings. So if I'm tuning my guitar and I don't have a tuner, I don't have perfect pitch. I'm probably better now, but I would just go with whatever my low E is tuned to, and I can tune a guitar from that just because of the resonance of the frequencies, right? You can tell when two frequencies
Yeah.
harmonize.
Yeah,
Wow.
you definitely
Sound
can. And
fidelity.
metronomes are as old as time itself.
Right.
An idea of a balance setting, things like that. The water clocks actually are used not just for metronomes, but even for pitch.
Wow.
And tone and setting everyone up. It's not till people start wanting to play together, honestly,
Right. Yeah.
that this even becomes a factor.
Right.
And where you have to be 417 or 432. And Brad, I think
I
you've
guess
nailed it. It's not, in my mind, it's much less conspiratorial and more cooperatorial that we moved into
Yeah.
440 because of all these different instruments.
I was thinking about the human voice as an instrument too.
Yes, and before you go that direction, think about people who essentially can sing harmony without
Right.
needing a tuner. They just
Right.
naturally hear
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
I cannot explain to you how. I could not teach somebody else to do that if I tried.
Right.
I don't know. Like
I've taken classes in it, and I tell you what, learning to sing harmony, someone said, if you want to do this, it's going to take you 6 years of actively listening. And that's a lot of time. That's what James just laid down. I was like, a lot of time to listen that hard to sing with another person. Now, sisters and brothers seem to do it easier with their voices kind of matching.
It seems that intuitive tuning is very different art. Intuitive tuning is, can I find my own scale and sing whatever song I want in this key? This is an internal sense of where music is, so you understand the 8% subtle differences between a whole step or a half step, for example.
Yeah.
And you're able to, more importantly, intuit what a song is without anyone telling you, but it's just trial and error. You're starting to think twinkle, twinkle. Okay, that's an up sound, so it's twinkle. Is that the same note? Twinkle. Yes, it is.
Oh,
okay, so
yeah.
twinkle, twink.
Right.
That's higher. Twinkle, twink. And you. This is your intuitive tuner. You are finding the frequency. You're listening to the frequency, and I think where people get lost is they think that they're listening to 432 hertz, but that's actually not what 432 hertz means. The note that you're listening to is actually going to be the difference of the other notes that makes you think that's A. So there would need to be a absence of A and then a presence of A for you to say, hey, I hear the note A now. So you understanding what a note is really more about the resonant difference of everything that's happening around you and which sounds are coming out the loudest. You discern loudness by the amplitude of that pitch, the clarity that it's able to come in. And most of that's being not dispelled by someone singing a different note. It's actually being dispelled by the dissonance between those notes as they come into your ear. So music is much more multiplex than the concept of a certain hertz or a certain signal like that. You know, it's more about the qualia between the difference between, honestly, an arbitrary number. I mean, we could certainly say 432 versus 440 is not arbitrary. You could, but I swear to you, it's such a microfiber pubic hair of like compared to the difference between the tones in whichever one you pick. Because if you're going to pick 432 or you're going to pick 442, the only thing that's going to make you good is not whether you know which of those you're on, it's whether you know how to move in that pitch to the next note in the song, you know, and those are different things. And different cultures have different things. The Eastern culture doesn't even use the circle of fifths in the same melodic way we do. So they have a very different, joy factor that they interpret from that kind of music. Same with Chinese music. I hate to just say Chinese music, but it's a very different sort of...
I tell you, that is a very interesting sound to get used to listening to from a Western ear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, have you guys heard of about Bobby McFerrin doing that little presentation he did with an audience? He went on a little tour.
That was good.
So what I'm saying is I don't know whether his pitch was so perfect that he was on 440 or 432, but to this point, I don't think it mattered what he was demonstrating to the audience.
He taught them all to sing. It was amazing.
Well, he told them that you're familiar with it. Yeah. He told them you may all not think you have tone or pitch or whatever. So he just set the tone for him. We got the whole audience to sing his
Yep.
tone. Then he sang the interval. Then he sang the interval. And then he told them, now y'all sing the next interval. And he didn't do it. And they all hit it because they understood intuitively interval.
Yeah.
And that's
It was
exactly
beautiful
what
to
he
hear.
Yeah.
You didn't know what the song was going to be because he was just teaching these parts.
Yeah.
And then it came out to like this most magnificent, like, you know, complicated song.
I want
It was
you to
crazy good.
think about the School of Mysteries in Egypt. There's no way that you're going to be able to inquisit someone with words about how adept a student is. But you're
Right.
going to be able to do this with tone. You're going to be able to give them the harp of Hathor and play notes without them looking and have them pick the string that was plucked. Things like this. These would be, I don't think it's necessarily, I mean, I don't mind us saying pitch perfect. That's fine. But I'm saying it's more about, do you understand what's being conveyed inside this note? You know, like it's
Exactly,
the
yeah.
interpretation of music. It's the interpretation of that message and your ability to, even more importantly, if I was the Mr. School teacher, I'd be like, can this guy convey one of 5 emotions by plucking these strings? And does the other side testing him know what emotion he's been ordered to invoke? In my mind, this would be the hermetic test. And we don't have a thing called emotive perfect. We just walk around talking about this autistic notion of pitch perfect, which is sort of more like, do you know how to spell letters, not do you know how to write a poem? Very
Color,
different
yeah.
fucking
Wow,
skill.
color as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, color
That's so
too.
interesting.
Yeah.
You know, that song that Leonard Cohen wrote about Michael, you know, and it was like the perfect, it's like this pitch
my
of
mother
like,
loved that song.
I love that song. And it's, you know, the minor fifth and the major lift. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's a great one.
It really does make you feel and get you goosebumps. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, every time.
Every
without fail.
time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And like the blues or how that makes you take that ride. So it is an emotional intelligence, isn't it? Like there's something
Well, it is.
in the
I love
emotion.
how, if you hear Leonard talking about how, when he was talking about his process and how he came to that, it's like, I assumed after him hearing Hallelujah that, you know, he explicitly knew what he was trying to do there. And if you listen to what he's saying, he didn't. I mean, he did, but you get what I'm saying. He was tapping into
I think
that
his
aspect
soul
of it.
was speaking through himself.
Absolutely.
Well, and I was just going to say, I don't know if any of y'all feel this way, but I personally do. When I am singing, this might be why I don't now. I know and I can feel that I'm burying my soul. And it's
Yeah.
who do I really want to play that kind of a music for?
Sure.
Wow.
You're going
Right?
to open up to.
Yep.
And, you know, to listen to Leonard sing his own song, I mean, he didn't have like the best voice, but the emotion of it, it's just like something that you can't stop listening to, you know?
Well, that's because the man was tapping. I mean, and it took a lot of pain for him. I mean, this is where
That's right.
his
That was his
process came
soul.
from.
Oh,
It was his soul. And
Yeah.
for him, it was just therapeutic. He couldn't believe that he became a star or that his music was huge. He went into, because I think I've talked about this before, he released that before he went into his monk years. He came out of his monk years and he was like famous for his music and he was blown away.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, and this is going to sound so weird, but I swear the Black Crowes are that same trajectory where
I gotcha.
that song, She Talks to Angels, is such a,
Right?
it's just such a fucking rocket ship of just, oh my God, what just happened? And the vessel
Do you know-
that's required to hold, sort of like with Leonard Cohen, you know, the
Right.
vessel required to hold that kind of talent is tricky. It's explains why Elton John is still like viably could eat vegetables and move around. He wasn't writing that music. He was just singing it, you know. He only had to
Right.
sing it really good, you know. That
Right.
was enough, you know.
But, you know, like with Cat Stevens, you know, that was really touching music when it came out. And I was just like, then he like disappeared. He went in, he had to go into monkhood or whatever he did.
Yeah.
And then he reemerged. I was
I
like,
think what we're tapping in here too is the fact that it's again, it's not about technical proficiency or this, that way. It's how closely the artist or whatever is able to tap into their soul and honestly express.
Yeah, I think Cat would have died. I think Cat would have died if he wouldn't have walked away. I mean, that dude, he was just so dark, like just so dark. And you just felt, I mean, that's why I loved him. Don't get me wrong. Hear me right. This is Cobalt, where I'm like, oh, well, welcome to the world of Cobalt. Yeah.
Right.
Tell me more.
And I mean, when I was listening to it, when it was, like it was just out, it was so comforting to listen to Cobalt as a teenager. It was like what we needed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we didn't need the Archies, like sugar, sugar, da 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 da. I mean, that was fun, but Cat Stevens, took you someplace that no one else could, meet you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really love Barbara Streisand's voice. Her voice blows me away. Her singing Songbird with the beautiful orchestra behind us, her range, that nose of hers, like just what she can do with that voice. And that makes me tear up. And sometimes when I cry, when I sing, I'll cry. And it's a really interesting release. Like, oh my gosh, it feels so good, but it's so weird. Oh my gosh. It's such an opening to tear.
I've been going
This is
back
about the
into
qualia. This is about if you can enjoy if you are moved by the music like that, you get to come to my mystery school. In other words, this is what I would test for, right? Are you movable by this? Because this is who we want to repopulate the earth. This is who we want to proliferate, not the ones that are like, oh, that's at 16.87 hertz. Like, shut up. How does it feel? It feels like 16.7 hertz. That's the wrong answer,
Right. The craftsman versus the actual artist.
Yeah.
We want to paint this cave.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting to be in a world where we're seeing that, where all that is, I mean, it's been here the whole time. Music's been telling us that the whole time, and culture has a certain idea of what they want everyone to listen to. And it is important everyone listens to the same thing. I mean, it kills me, but it is important. And it allows people to be able to be on the same wavelength, which means they see each other. They wouldn't be able to see each other in the same limbic depth if we didn't have the same kind of shared music like this to connect us. So,
or even like commercials when we were kids or jingles. Like that's a total connection.
Jingles are powerful.
I can still sing them.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Jingles is such a fascinating area because it's like a lot of growing up around musicians like that you poo-poo it in terms of, oh, I'm an artist, wouldn't do jingles, but you don't realize how powerful jingles are until what we're talking about here. You realize that earworm, how deep they get in you, and what a skill that is.
Yeah,
that is such a powerful skill.
Very demonic.
I'm just thinking about music as this like a food palette. And like food can bring up emotions, or colors can bring up emotions, but like using all of these palettes, and like you can complain about a bland pop culture music palette, but I like how you explained, James, that we need a shared time. And this, in this world of individualization, we're not listening to the same songs on the radio anymore. Our palettes are changed.
Yeah. When you're in the back of a squad car and you've been arrested for some horrendous act, and you're in the back of the squad car and they bring you into the processing facility, you're going to hear someone that you've never seen, that you've never met. He's going to be saying words and talking about human things. And the more that you recognize, the more you're going to be parasympathetically safe and acceptable. So if he says the word Super Bowl, I don't care that you don't like football. It chemically is important, isn't it? Like, it's crucially important. I do not think that you would get in the squad car voluntarily if you weren't going to have a million of these little juice reminders of sameness, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of glue is never going away. I do think that the medium of that glue certainly does change. You know, how we choose to bond in that way is going to, you know, maybe change as our organism changes. But we definitely need and will always have that, which is why I sort of see Trump as being a little bit more organic. Even the death match thing and his name coming off the wall. This has just happened, but now it's like, oh, now you got to take your name off the wall, you know. And he's like, and you can't have a cage match because no one's going to show up. And now the lead singer from Poison, is embarrassed to play at your death cage match. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is the only glue that would hold all of us together. There's no other story that would have enough cohesion in a world that is so complex, that has people like me creating music that only 100 people will see. The only way you could save the organism is to develop a reality type figure like Trump that is just so ubiquitously pus-filled. Yes, larger than life, exactly, because it's the only thing that would hold this together. So
wow, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, important stuff, Trump.
Wow.
Important stuff.
Beacon.
Yeah.
Dang, isn't that that match on his birthday? Is that going to happen on his? I know he's a Gemini.
He's a June birthday, isn't it? June
16th, and I think that the match is around that day. That's
I'm going to be traveling around that time.
Wow.
Yay.
What?
And we got a
June's
lot of
going to be
Gemini
interesting.
cooking.
June is going to be
Gemini.
off the hook.
Yeah. We are riding this one, this fire horse here. Yeah. Yeah, so much creativity.
Giddy up.
It's been really fun. I've been playing with my toys of fluidity in the body in the bottle, and as you roll out. So just the fun and getting really crafty and making music, James, I'm assuming, and now to have this material thing to come out. That's just so satisfying. I love material things. I'm an earth sign. I like to touch things, create things, like, let's put it into matter. And with that, it's on the mat, and it does matter. So I think just even placing that out to be in the position to travel the world with that signal is an act in itself. It's just a momentum forward move, and to see how it rolls, right? Because it's such a fun ride. Those, oh my gosh, the Nemo's Journey, that song. Oh my gosh, talk about a portal. You are just somewhere else when you're listening to that song that James made. And all these songs are just like such fun. It's a fun ride. It's a coaster of emotion. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's really beyond, places that you think you go. And I think the collaboration with GAIA, and James and Eva, just as we're all so enthusiastic with all the things going on right now, we're so enthusiastic. So, this momentum has to be captured somehow. And I guess it's a match on the White House lawn, it's like how this color is being painted in this book, is just, wow. We're over the top.
We are. And go ahead.
I do like that. So I used to be a person where it was like the music is the most important and the lyrics, okay. And I didn't really care about personal opinions as much. But now it's like when I'm choosing music, I realize that I'm attuning to a soul too. So we're doing soul tuning now.
Mm.
And especially when I'm going into a place of like ritual, even if it's just sitting in myself as a ritual, whatever you want.
Oh, yeah.
I want that fidelity. I want it now. I want it so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of music, isn't it? Because it doesn't really matter as we're talking about all this, because this is not, it's like we're talking about the Suno music and James, yours being not. There's so many albums and songs that are not in the whatever perfect pitch you want to call. And none of that really matters, because in the end, it just comes down to what that song can connect to emotionally. That's all it is. And so when you have a song,
every song is a collection of ripples, and those ripples repeat in recognizable ways, which makes you say, oh, this is music. And then you decide whether or not the ripples are ripples that you find beautiful or not. Then you're like, oh, this is a shitty song. This is really a shitty collection of ripples. And then sometimes you're like, hey, come here. Look at these ripples.
I love it.
Look at these
ripples
fuckers.
are
Listen,
life,
listen.
nonetheless.
Shh, 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 shh. Here it comes. Did you hear that? Wait. Let me go back. Rewind the ripples. Play ripples again. Like, that's where we're living. We're doing that. We're doing that all the time. I'm literally taking ripples and going, I'm going to share these ripples just with Renee. I'm going to send these ripples to Renee. Hey, did you get my ripples? Did you see those ripples? And she's sending me ripples back because she's hearting them. And there's like, here's ripples. So, yeah.
They're right next to the ruffles.
That's really all it is, Brad. And as fancy as we want to say this is this or this isn't this or this is that, that's all because of the feelings that are emoted from the ripples that allow us to consciously say this is Nazi music because it's at this frequency, or this is biorhythmic super earth hertz music because it's at this frequency. True did this on Substack, our friend of the show Sometimes You're True. He posted something binaural and it was like, it's because it came from him. I actually, if I wanted to be a dick, I could have written in the comments, hey, you know what I'm listening to actually is in the key of G and blah, 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 da, da, da. It didn't matter. All I said was thank you because it came from True. And I was like, hey, I'm going to take 30 seconds and listen to this. And because it's coming from True, this works. That's fucking works. These are great ripples. It works anyway. It could have secret underlying the words in the music. If I was to turn it up inside of Logic Pro and turn down the bass and listen, it could have a secret message that say urine, poopy, poopy, poopy. It wouldn't matter if that clarity of the message from True was getting through to me. Do you see what I mean? Because the vehicle of the ripples was bringing it there. Even if they're urine ripples, I get it. You may not enjoy it as much thinking about them as urine ripples. I believe you. I'm not like, let's go make urine ripple songs, but you get what I mean.
You know, I was wondering about this. Like when you learn to sing or you're trying to sing, or it's always like you have to just sing, because when you start to listen to yourself, you're not really singing. And it's like, learning how to listen or to sing or to make art or to make anything as a just as a pure soul experience rather than a curated, is this people going to like this, or am I off key? Am I singing off key? Am I, it's just like that, like is such a Debbie Downer, It's like,
Spirit is feeling, and if you're speaking from your soul, it's going to resonate correctly.
Yeah. I notice
fall upon the heart.
When I sit down to play the piano, first of all, it really helps to be alone, because then I don't have to to justify why I'm going to make this sound.
Yes.
And I can only justify it if something deeply emotional or something moving comes out, or super talented or super technical comes out. So it really helps if I'm just alone. And then when I'm alone, I strike the note, and then I notice that actually it's not my playing that needs to change. It's my listening, because now I'm listening to music. Now I'm purposely using the sound in the room versus not. and that puts you in a mode that's very different. And then I begin to play. And I've been doing this exercise every day where I will purposely play a single steady bass note, keeping a steady rhythm on C, purposely keeping it as boring as I can, purposely making myself not be impressed by, oh, here's a new sound I found. No, this is piano standard 1. As soon as you turn it on, that's what the sound is. And I'm not trying to keep a fast beat. There's no swing in the beat. It's a steady boom, boom, boom. And until that is satisfying to me, I'm not ready to add anything to it. This is the exact opposite of how a lot of people will try and make music in front. The first thing is I have to justify, I need to come in with a triplet Lutz, like a triple back Lutz.
No, it's got to be a quadruple Lutz.
And I've got to do a slur. Yeah, I've got to slur,
like approaching it in a
and then
school
staccato
method.
it, but only slur in this like slide in kind of a Jackson 5 kind of a thing. And then you try that. And now it's fine. That's how you get gigs. I fucking get it,
But like if you were going to learn from a drummer, the drummer always, or any musical instrument, to play the song really, really slow and right, rather than fast and wrong, you're going to learn it faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually how you learn. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
To learn to play fast, you learn to play it slow, and then you speed it up.
Yes.
Well, an interesting story for me that kind of demonstrates this Hertz thing we're talking about. My son took seriously music theory and all this, and he does have close to quote unquote perfect pitch. So interestingly, he came in. My dad one day was watching REO Speedwagon, and it was a YouTube video he was watching, and my son came through and said, that's out of tune, right? My dad didn't understand because he was like, what do you mean it's out of tune? It sounds great. And what my son was trying to tell him was that his ears detected that's not in 440. And his ears are that good, right? He could not explain to my dad what he was saying, but I understood what he was saying. And when I tested, I didn't know that by my ear. But when I tested what he was saying on the piano, he was absolutely right. The pitch of they were, a semitone flat. He detected that. But all my dad knew was, that sounds good to me. What do you mean it's out of tune? So this all just, I think, encapsulates what we're talking about, the fact that the pitch itself does not necessarily matter to the listener. My dad has no idea about pitch, anything like that.
Yeah, you just have to memorize that. You're just memorizing that this is what the world calls C, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you hear that? Do you hear that? I don't know if you can hear that or not. I don't know if you just heard that.
It's not.
No.
I just
not.
pressed a note on the keyboard.
Too bad, though.
I bet they can on YouTube. But sometimes Zoom doesn't pick up music.
Oh yeah, it's probably Zoom. Well,
Right.
that's too bad because a
I
perfect
hear
pitch.
something, but I could be crazy.
Yeah, it's okay. Perfect pitch.
We love
Perfect pitch is just memorizing that's what everyone in the room calls C. Because
Right.
honestly, once you know that, if you intuitively know music, if you intuitively know your notes, this is just where you're going to start from and say, this is what I'm calling, in pitch. This is what I'm calling in tune, because technically nothing's out of tune.
No.
The only thing that would be out of tune is if you've declared yourself beforehand, 8-ball corner pocket, and you miss,
Right.
right? Because it really does work that way. I mean, yes, it's definitely your strings can be out of tune with each other because a guitar is typically made in the sense of the low E and the high E, and if those resonate, you're gonna have a much better time. You really are. But fucking go to India and ask someone to play a sitar, and see if you're stretching 4 octaves, guess what?
Blow their mind.
You can't even do that anymore because the 4-octave stretch is actually causing other weird things to happen with the dissonance to where you actually have to go sharper or more flatter depending. I don't even know, but I'm just telling you that it's not even as clean as we think. The exact same way the Parthenon cannot be straight. If you want to make a building that looks straight, you got to fucking curve that shit in.
Yeah.
You have to curve that shit in. And music works the same way, which is why it's so profound. That's why I get a little pissy about in tune stuff, because it's like we need to remember what this means, because it's not even the math doesn't work. Even the math is curved because of the difference in the octaves. Keep in mind how long it takes to hear a note that's in bass versus how long it takes to hear a note that's so your brain
string is going slower.
actually hearing treble before it's hearing bass, even when the bass started first.
Right.
That's the whole reason they made equipment like BBE equalizers that tried to rectify exactly what you're talking about, so that that it hit the listener at the same time.
Yeah.
Why would they even create that?
Yeah.
Right.
If they
I
weren't
don't
trying
know.
to compensate for that.
I think I highly recommend singing in these sacred sites. I sang in the Pantheon in Rome, and that curved building with the hole in the center of it where the rain comes in, it's it's fantastic what happens when you sing in different locations. I had a friend play the flute in a water container, It's just like the levels of the curvedness of
You're their sacred geometry.
yeah, it's just fascinating.
Well, I'll tell you
Magical.
one thing as a guitar player that's frustrated me for years because I didn't get it at first. I thought my pitch was out. But for example, a guitar does not actually play in perfect pitch on all chord positions. You have to choose which chord you want to be more in tune than the other because they are microtonally out of pitch depending on which chord shape you're putting on the guitar. So, for example, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, John Frusciante, for I think it was the Bird's Eye View song. I can't remember what it's called, but he detuned his B strong. Sorry, he detuned his B string just subtly to make the perfect chord on the B, but it's subtly throughout the tune on the others. But it's because, and I didn't know this at the time, the B string, depending on where you fret it, is microtonally out of tune with the rest of the notes, depending on which interval you're on. So a guitar, even itself, is not perfectly in tune with itself.
That's interesting. I want to say I'm so grateful that I don't have whatever that perfect pitch is. I think it would drive me absolutely insane to hear pitches all the time. I just want to feel the emotions of the music. And I'm glad I don't go in the room and go, oh my God, that's off pitch.
You know, Brad, everything you just said is actually why they invented the saxophone. The saxophone was one of the one of the more diverse instruments that's able to maintain a steady tone on so many octaves.
Wow.
And it's why it came last as an invention. It was basically the dudes who were making clarinets were making a bass clarinet.
Wow.
And they just got annoyed with how it wasn't working out. And they decided to take some of the principles from their brass and apply it to the bass clarinet. And it suddenly became the most dynamic ranged instrument that was available. And the reason why it took off so popularly is because if you think about it, if you're in a theater or if you're doing music in an orchestra pit, having a saxophone there is going to give you the entire range of every instrument in the orchestra inside of one little machine. So welcome to the birth of jazz.
Yeah,
welcome to the birth
curves.
of a 15-piece orchestra turning into a 4-piece orchestra.
Right.
Right.
And the curve of that of that saxophone, you know?
Welcome to the psychic saxophone. And with that, we have completed this tour, everyone. Thank you all for joining us, as well as everyone in the chat. Really great ride.
Yeah, great ride.
Enjoy this
Appreciate
full
all of
coming
you.
up, everybody.
Enjoy the ride.